Okay, well, I'll try and follow up my series here with a reading of Peter Redding's Cetacean. That word is from the Latin origin, and it means, I think it means monster maybe, but it gives you an immediate clue. It could mean monster. There's a sense of mystery. The blue whales are the largest mammal to ever live on the face of planet Earth. Bigger than any Diplodocus, bigger than any Brontosaurus. They are themselves incredible. But that sort of Latin name, it gives you also a clue as to the kind of scientific classification. I wanted to read that poem to you despite the blustering wind from which I've sought shelter, because walking along that pier, that wharf where the fishermen were bringing in their catch at the end of the day, it's very early in the day, very early, does it say? I get the sense that it's almost before the dawn, because these blue whales are not going to be just over there, they're going to be out in the deep sea. So as the boat creeps out, overall this is a message about the magnificent, awe-inspiring impression when they do see the whales. Unlike watching for dolphins, they go out with a purpose to observe, maybe to scientifically study, but then they watch, and the observation of these vast creatures as they come up to the surface, slowly breach, their backs appear, they blow their spouts up and take in new air and get ready to dive down into the depths. And there's that sense of mystery, isn't there? Yeah. The poem starts off, I think, kind of out of the break of day. There's this slow shifting. There's not a great sense of rhythm within the line, but the San Francisco, comma, Sunday, comma, early. Our vessel bowed to stern, comma, some 63 feet. It's almost like a captain's log, so that the speaker here could be the captain or could be the scientist making their field study notes as they set out to observe these creatures. The Farallones must be some islands or a stretch of water outside, offshore from San Francisco. And in the second stanza, there's no waiting here. They see them. They were swimming slowly. They were swimming slowly. So a kind of iambic meter there, a very gentle rhythm, because these graceful, magnificent creatures don't twist and turn quickly. They can swim at speed, but their slow, enormous mass and the grace of their arising. They rose at a shallow angle. The use of assonance there lends itself to conveying the enormity of the creatures. Go and pace out 63 feet. Go and find out on the blue playground just how long these creatures are. They are enormous. The scientific, technical nature of observation is there. They were grey as slate with white mottling, dorsals tiny and stubby. It's like they're trying to classify these whales, identify different individuals within the family pod. And then we have, I think they're so immense that you can't just see a whale. It's like the Hindi proverb of the blind men trying to identify what an elephant is by just looking at one part of it. You can't, and this thing is rising up, and different parts are emerging and becoming visible, so they are being captured and they are being observed acutely by the scientific poet. So the broad flat heads are at least 1/4 their overall body lengths. Closed parentheses, full stop. So it's not like there's an awe-inspiring sense. There's no real vivid imagery here. It's not mellifluous or full of superlatives or figurative devices with shimmering metaphorical figurative language. It's none of that, is it? But it doesn't need to be, because the very fact of these whales' existence is enough. Eventually they blew. Now that is it's a plosive sound, and it would be what you do when you hold your breath underwater. They can do that for 2 or 3 hours, I think, at a time. And so they blow as their heads began to break the surface. So there's that alliterative and plosive BBB sound, and you get the sense of them rising up, and the power of them. It's they blow, and on their back is where their nasal air passage is, and so that's something that can be concealed and shut tight when they're deep underwater. But then they blow, and those plumes go up 30 feet. So what immense power in vertical props. They describe them as columns. So they are so immense, it's like they are structural features of a monument or a building or a temple. And then their heads disappeared underwater. So it's all very matter of fact. It's not very poetic, is it? But the structure and the lineation is, because the lengthy comma, caesura there as well, rolling, that rolling is loud time to roll over the whole of that line. Expanse of their backs. So we are watching probably from the stern of this ship, looking out, this fishing vessel or whatever it is, the scientific ship. We're looking out and we're seeing a thing that's bigger than the ship come by in stages. So huge banks and rolling and hove. We've got this use of assonance again, which helps to give you the sense of the enormity of the creature. About 20 feet longer than the vessel herself, right? So no, go out and measure 83 feet. Let's call it 90 feet. That's divide by 3, that's 30 meters. So bigger than your local swimming pool. And then, because it's all part of one action, and then isn't capitalized because it connotes the diminutive size of the dorsals, which are themselves, they just appear as a flash after that extended, and which is at, placed at the far right to give you a sense of the distance between the broad head and the dorsal fin. And then it showed briefly, and after the blows dispersed, there must be a pod of them, it's not just one, they are social creatures, their heads had gone under, and then they arch their backs, then arch their tail stalks. So they're so huge they can't do this in one clean action, like a sprinter in the blocks crouching down. It's huge and slow and deliberate, and the tail stalks are those wonderful things, you won't see them, they're like that above the like that, and then they will dive down into the ocean. And then the flukes were visible. Are flukes this bit? Or is that the huge tail, I think? Just before the creatures vanished. It must be the huge tail. Slipping into the deep again at a shallow angle. Full stop. No sense of wonder there, but there's no doubt that this poem, simply through observing objectively and accurately in a scientific, technical manner that's stylistically very different from the other poems in the collection, has conveyed the majesty of these wonderful creatures.